Why do women cheat? I found a number of interesting studies that'll help us figure it out. The first study states that those people who have cheated, and not only once, have an increased concentration of vasopressin. What hormone is this? What does it control? Vasopressin is a hormone of self-attractiveness. A body produces vasopressin when we enjoy our appearance. For example, a woman looks in the mirror and enjoys how cool she looks like. And at this moment, vasopressin is produced more. Social networks work the same way. Why do they attract women so much? It's simple. A man liking a photo equals to the release of hormones. Same old vasopressin. Well, of course, all men like beautiful and well-groomed women. No one wants a pathetic woman. But it turns out that there is a kind of Rubicon, a red line, which a woman have crossed and started over-investing in her appearance, being overly concerned about her appearance. And therefore she'll feel the need for male attention and compliments, and that's when chances of betrayal start growing. It works the same way with men. This happened to me about 10 years ago. I was dating a pretty attractive woman. At that time I was athletic, always spent my time in the gym. And as it often happens, training is accompanied by the fact that your muscles swell and you enjoy it. The jocks know well what I'm talking about. And suddenly, my girlfriend stopped attracting me. I started paying attention to others and didn't know what to do about it. Furthermore, circumstances have arisen that forced me to take a break from training. That is, I was deprived of an excess supply of vasopressin. I no longer looked at my swollen muscles in the gym, and already in 2 or 3 weeks, my girlfriend started attracting me again. The problem disappeared exactly until I returned to the gym again. I'm sure you heard this women's phrase, I do my makeup, dress nicely only for myself, and other men have nothing to do with it. Sometimes it can be true because vasopressin in either way is increasing. So, it turns out that cheating is always the result of a lifestyle because a lifestyle creates a certain hormonal homeostasis. No women can resist this temptation for a long time. The question is a little different. Some women may want this and sooner or later they will definitely cheat, and others can't. Not because she's principled, not because she made a vow to you, but because she just simply doesn't need the hormonal dose. Well, there's no such need. What conclusions can we make? First, the more male attention a woman receives, the higher chances of cheating. Second, if a woman is an actress, blogger, or the most beautiful woman in a male society, if she is in sight, then almost inevitably she will have a high level of vasopressin, with all consequences arising from this. Third, there's another category of women with kinda damaged self-esteem that psychologists help to love themselves. More often, it leads to inadequate consumption of vasopressin, and sooner or later a woman's mind is blown. Fourth, very popular scenario, when the wife leaves for someone else, cheats after returning from maternity leave. Why? Because during pregnancy and after it, vasopressin was critically low. She didn't like her appearance. And as soon as the child started going to daycare, she began to take care of herself, so vasopressin increases, so does the likelihood of cheating. Did you notice that in 95% of the cases before ending the relationship, a woman begins to work hard on herself, fitness, yoga, hairstyles, cosmetologists. With high level of vasopressin, leaving is easier. Here the question arises, can a beautiful woman be loyal in this case? She can, but only when she perceives her beauty and attractiveness as a temptation. She doesn't get satiated, revel in vasopressin, saying how cool I am, everyone's hitting on me, everyone likes me. She rather devalues this male attention and doesn't seek for it or provoke it. Now it's very important to remember the most popular girl in school. Remembered? There's a 90% chance that she's already had a divorce. The fact that from an early age she was saturated with attention, compliments, and flattering epithets addressed to her deformed her life. But there is a reverse scenario when a girl doesn't have a father. Or there's a tension within her family. In this case, the woman grows up hungry, not loved enough. And unfortunately, most often, that woman doesn't know how to be loyal in relationships. It turns out that the most beautiful girl in school often grows up to be an easy one due to vasopressin pumping, as well as the least popular and beautiful ones due to lack of vasopressin. Because balance is very important in this matter. The second study is about dopamine, which is released in anticipation of something pleasant. A certain pleasure. It could be delicious food, intimacy, party, and so on. The research says that the higher a person's addiction to dopamine, the higher the likelihood of cheating. I immediately remembered the old proverb, choose your wife on Saturday, not on Sunday. Even our great-great-grandfathers said, do not choose a dopamine woman for the family. Well, I think you got what I mean. They also had a way to entertain themselves to get a dopamine boost. I found another fitting expression. For a good wife, staying at home is not a burden. Our great-great-grandfather suggested paying attention to whether a woman is capable of performing monotonous housework in the family. How much does it burden her? It turns out that an idle lifestyle makes a person unsuitable for a long-term family life and critically increases the probability of cheating. In general, all people can be divided into two categories. First, get sustainable dopamine in an adequate dose. A person's busy. They're not looking for courage, excessive fun, or extreme joy. Exactly because of this reason, even small, seemingly insignificant reasons for having fun in life can make a person happy. Let me remind you that in family relationships, sooner or later, dopamine is getting low. But this is not a holiday romance where passions run high, but this is enough for such a person. The second type, they're dopamine hunters. That can be seen while shopping, purchases, and spending time. Short relationships, looking for love psychosis, need for travel, bright, intense experiences. The absence of any abstinence is worth paying attention to. The person has no self-control and so on. We live only once, you need to enjoy it, that's the simple motto. As a result, dopamine resistance developed. You can't call it sustainable. Such a person has only two relationship scenarios, and the first one is to fall in love just to activate the love fever, just to feel something. But in the end, the person will suffer. And the second scenario, lose interest in your partner after some time. Right at this moment, betrayal happens. Cheating is a huge dose of dopamine, that's it. I found another study that states that adrenaline addiction also increases the likelihood of cheating. But why? It's simple. Family life is about balance, comfort, harmony, and silence. Only for the time being a person can receive thrilling emotions from other stuff. For example, driving a car very fast, skiing, and all that. But sooner or later, relationships can become boring. According to my observations, men sometimes manage to combine these things. That is, you can have some kind of extreme hobby, but at home you need peace. But I don't really know stories when it worked out for women. And now the most important moment. Everything I described affects the emotional state of a person and his desires. And he doesn't even suspect what's happening to him. That is, when you lose interest in a woman, then this is a problem of your lifestyle. When a woman cheats on her man and says that he didn't live up to expectations, it's too late to fix something. I don't want anything. She's lying right now. The purpose of this video is to show that there are very specific reasons as a result of which a person cheats. Cheating is actually quite easy to predict. If you use your intelligence then with an accuracy of more than 90%, it can be predicted even without getting into a relationship with the person. You can tell if he can cheat or she can't. But people not capable of cheating are an absolute minority. It's also important to add that this internal deformation of a person is not that obvious. How do men think? She doesn't go to clubs, no bad habits, she says she wants children, okay, I can marry her. Guys, well, there are 1,001 ways to pump yourself with dopamine or vasopressin. For example, if a woman spends a year on a dating site, she'll receive so much attention, traffic, so much vasopressin. Even some actresses may envy this. Then you start a relationship with her. Everything seems to be fine. Meanwhile, the countdown timer has started. In just a few months, or in a few years, the feelings will go away. You'll puzzle over why. What's wrong? What happened? But the woman will come up with some plausible version and will just leave. Now comes the fun part. Based on the study, vasopressin, hormone of self-attractiveness, seriously increases the chance of cheating, wherein the society encourages men to idolize women's beauty, not her good deeds, but the beauty, charm, attractiveness. The society says, your woman should feel special. You're special. Not because you're a good mom, kind wife, no. It doesn't matter, it's secondary. You're special because everyone wants you, you're in demand. Well, it turns out you yourself, with your own hands, encourage her to cheat. But these are completely different things. When you notice and praise her good deeds, and when you try to boost her ego. And the hardest thing is that getting off of these feelings is almost impossible. If a woman suddenly happened to decide to end all this, it would cause not just apathy, but severe depression, and she would have a question inside her head. Why do I need this? I'm uncomfortable, I'm unhappy. I need to pump myself up with hormones. And your attempts to explain to her that this is a dead-end path will not be understood. She'll say, come on, all people are different. You're talking nonsense. How do people choose a person to live with? You've met and it seems like she's a kind, cute person, definitely not evil. You focus on what's happening at this moment. In this minute, everything's good. That means relationships can be developed. All's good. But this is a mistake. You don't know how this person will behave in the moment of crisis. I want to say the obvious thing. In all relationships, without exception, where cheating took place, people, once in a time, confessed their love. They didn't plan to cheat. They said vows to each other and planned to live lives together. This happened in every relationship, in any. Then why do you think it should be different for you? Therefore, to choose a person to live with, we must make a diagnosis of all her previous relationships. How did a person live? What was interested in? How does he live today? You need to pay attention not to the promises, not to the oaths, not to the emotions, not to the tears, not to how emotional the person confesses his love to you now. It's all nonsense. This doesn't matter at all. But his lifestyle can tell you a lot about him. There is still a misconception in the society that someone can settle down. There's a common saying that he or she are not ready to settle down. This is nonsense. Dopamine and vasopressin addiction are constantly growing, especially dopamine. The addiction to it never wanes. If you have reached a certain scale level, then you can't go below this level, only if it's temporary. Yes, sometimes this may be in kind of a sleep mode. Well, this is a common situation when a woman can have quite a stormy youth. You don't suspect anything, then she gets married, and a certain relationship scenario starts where it requires, well, different qualities, especially if there are children. Then this scenario goes for many years. But the problem will arise sooner or later. Therefore, in order to avoid these, I can recommend two courses. The first one, What Women Are Like. The last course, Hacking Female Affection. If you want to learn how to understand women's scenarios and have some experience, then this is a course, Master of Online Dating. The first pinned comment under the video. Thanks everyone.